What's up, Ed?
What's up, man? Finally.
Yeah.
Finally. Is that E.T.? What's up? Yeah! Yes, sir.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the basement. That's BASSMINT. Welcome bass players around the world. Welcome Texas bass players. Welcome Australian bass players. Welcome bass players to steel chairs right in the middle of an interview.
Right, especially when they steel chairs.
Yeah. Welcome Detroit bass players and the surrounding suburbs. That was awesome, man. Tell us your name, brother.
I'm Takashi Iio.
Takashi Iio, a Detroit bass player. Man, we're about to do an interview with this cat, but before we do that, we're going to acknowledge all the other bass players that's here in the basement. So let me take a deep breath. On my left, tell us your name.
Penelope.
A Detroit bass player. Where you live, Penelope?
Wyandotte.
Wyandotte, a suburb of Detroit. Next to her, tell us your name.
Chris Snyder.
Chris Snyder, another Detroit bass player. Where you live?
Taylor.
Another suburb of Detroit. And while I'm at it, what kind of basses that you got there?
Oh, a Music Man.
Music Man. And what kind of bass you got, Mr. Snyder?
Made custom 5-string.
Let me see. I can't see it. Yeah, that's a made custom. Meaning Sean made the bass builder. He's a Detroit bass player. Also works at Guitar Center and Canty, and he builds basses, and it's pretty awesome of him to do that.
Yeah.
And you can go to Guitar Center and ask them to build you a bass. No conflict of interest. I'm dead serious. Next thing, tell us your name.
Yeah, I am Yurko.
Yurko Sepulveda, another Detroit bass player. Tell us where you reside, sir.
I live in Novi.
Novi. Somebody better say Detroit. This name of the show is Detroit bass player.
And we have water pressure now, so it's
Oh,
we're doing
yeah.
pretty well.
Congratulations.
He's got a big B on his shirt. He doesn't have a bass.
I don't
I'm
have a
assuming
bass.
that B stands for.
That stands for the backbeat, which I've brought to show and tell today.
All right, folks, this is a new product, innovative product. It's a subwoofer on your back. We're going to check it out, we're going to review it, and we're going to interview this cat. Next to him, tell us your name.
Robert Laquette.
Robert Laquette. What's up, Bob? How you doing, brother?
Man, I'm hanging in there, yes, sir.
What kind of basses that you got there?
It's a Music Man sub.
Okay, two Music Mans. They winning right now. Where you reside, sir?
I live in Oak Park, Michigan.
He lives in Oak Parks. So far, that's real close to suburb of Detroit. On my by the way, that's one of my students. By the way, one of my bass students. And on this way. On my right, we have with us. Tell us your name.
Sharon Martin.
Sharon Martin. This, for those who don't know, this is another one of my bass students. She's also the daughter of the late great Kenny Mack, a Detroit bass player.
Okay.
Glad to have you here too.
Yeah, definitely glad to have you here.
And next to her, tell us your name. Oh, where you reside?
Inkster.
Inkster.
You do?
Yeah. Okay. Next to her, tell us your name.
Terrence Hamlet.
Terrence Hamlet. Another student of mine, another bass student of mine. Where's your bass, Sharon?
Oh, I'm sorry, still in the bag.
Okay.
Pull that out.
Pull it out, because that's kind of
Let us see.
because her bass is a
You could say so,
strange.
what you work with down
Right.
there and had no sexual connotation.
Right.
Now check it out. That's a Fender Jaguar that's been modified. If you notice, all the switches are gone now, and it's been modified with a dual pot volume and whatever that I don't know. We still ain't figured it out yet. Again, sorry about that, Terrence. Another student of mine, Terrence Hamlet. Where do you reside?
Centerline, Michigan.
Centerline.
Yep.
And he's playing. What you got there?
Music man.
Now, how many basses you got, man?
I got some stuff that I bought, but this about three.
Three of them. Okay, Music Man is really winning in here. That's three of them.
Right.
Next to him is another bass student of mine. Tell us your name.
Mary Lee.
Mary Lee plays a bass called Lady Luck, and it's very lightweight. She's also an instructor at the University of Michigan Dearborn. She's also the sponsor of what we call the Canty B Scholarship, where she donates money for students to take free bass lessons or piano and all that stuff. So thank you very much for the Canty B Scholarship. Also next to her is we got Texas in the house now. Tell us your name.
My name's Ricky Gibbons.
And where you did we say where you reside, Marilyn?
Dearborn.
Dearborn. Okay, Ricky Givens, where you reside?
Houston, Texas.
Houston, Texas. Are you a bass player?
Yes, I'm a student.
I can't tell. You ain't got no bass in your
I'm
hand.
sorry. I didn't bring you with me. I know what happened is.
The reason why he doesn't have a bass is because he came all the way from Houston on work assignment for the company he works for to Toledo. And then he was like, hey, man, is there anything happening in Detroit this weekend? I'm thinking about taking that 49-mile drive from Toledo. Anything happen? And I said, well, as a matter of fact, yes, there is. Come to the basement. Have you been to Motown yet?
Yes, I went to this one.
Did you enjoy it?
I really enjoyed that.
Well, welcome to the basement, Houston, Texas, representing.
All right now.
Also, next to him, tell us your name.
Ed Tate.
Ed Tate, a basement alumni. Some of these other people's alumni, but I forgot to say that because I really was concentrating on saying, where do you reside? So where do you reside?
Farmington Hills.
Okay, we back in zero Detroit. Nobody lives in Detroit right now. And, Ed is also one of our heavy hitters that travels the world playing the bass. He say he ain't been around the world, just the country, right?
Yeah, well.
So how many times you snapped that passport?
He's got a new one.
4.
4 times.
I think.
Okay, you done been around the world as far as I'm concerned. Okay, and what kind of bass you got?
This is a Music Man Sterling.
Music Man is killing it today.
Oh my God.
Wow. And next to him, we got with us, tell us your name, another Detroit basement alumni, tell us your name.
Donald Mex, I think.
Yep. Donald Mex, another Detroit bass player.
Names all these bases.
He got a what you got in there? You got the Tobias in that case?
No, sir.
You got another bass? What do you got? Just tell me what it is.
It's a Yamaha.
He got a Yamaha, folks. Go back and look at all our interviews and see he brings a different bass to every time. Also with us is a young and budding bass player. Tell us your name, Emery. Emery Canty, the grandson of our gracious host, Mr. Reginald Canty. Okay. You in good hands, brother, with that bass, your new bass. We just did an episode with him receiving that bass. And what kind of bass is it?
SX Jazz Bass.
Yeah.
Welcome to the basement. Continue to grow as a bass player and as a young man. Yes, and I forgot our gracious host right there, Mr. Reginald Canty. Thank you once again for letting us do this. And last but not least, we got with us, tell us all 12 of your names.
Oh, do we need all of them? Pope Star, Pope Alicious, Pope Nautic, Pope Fiction, and I'm from Detroit by way of the Popetropolis.
So we finally got a Detroit in here. Don is you from Westland, right?
Well, I'm originally from Detroit, if that helps.
No, that doesn't help. Where you reside?
How about that?
You live in Inkster now?
Yeah.
And he not only does he have a new bass every time he comes, he moves every time he comes to the basement. And then myself, you got myself, Big Ive. And see, I told you, man, the intros alone, I done forgot your name again. No, I'm just kidding. But for those who's gonna see it written, what's the whole name?
Takashi Iio.
Iio, and that's spelled with
I-I-O.
right.
Yeah, people usually spell it with the L-I-O, I-T-O, E-O. I've seen so many different versions of it, but it's actually I-I-O.
And not E-I-E-I-O.
No, I've been getting that since the 80s.
I knew you'd heard that.
Right.
I'm going to be the first one talking.
All right, so we here to interview this fine bass player who I've met a couple of years ago, and always wanted to get him in the basement, and time did not allow. That happens so much to where we have to wait 2 and 3 years before the schedules line up, and it finally did. So thank you for coming to the basement. Thank you all for coming to the basement. So, and it's a full house today for some strange reason.
Because he's here.
Right.
And I'd like to ask you, my first question I always like to ask is, when did you start playing the bass and why?
So I was 15 years old when I started playing, so that's, I can't even remember now, 23 years ago. And I started playing because a buddy of mine wanted a bass player in his metal band, and I didn't even know what a bass was at the time. He just said, hey, why don't you, it's, 2 less strings than a guitar. It's easier, you just pick it up and, you just have to play the bottom note and just do that kind of thing. And I was like, oh, that's easy, man, I could do that. So I ended up doing that because of and I soon found out that it wasn't that easy.
Right. A lot of people do that. You see somebody on stage playing the bass or guitar, any instrument, like, I want to do that. And then when you go put one in your hand, it's nothing like what you thought it was going to be.
I mean, everything about it was difficult. Plucking to holding the string down and all that. I was able to do a minor pentatonic scale within a week, which I was proud of. But, after that, it was really tough.
I'm just amazed that that's one of the first things that you run across was a minor pentatonic scale.
I think I had a good teacher. He wasn't, I don't think he read very well. He was an amazing teacher because he had good taste in music. He got me right into Motown music, and he's like, you got to get a jazz bass. You can't get this other Iceman thing that you're about to get. He's like, what is this? Like, I think Ibanez made it.
Yep, Ibanez.
Yeah, he's like, I was like, that looks cool though, man. I want to be in a metal band with this cool looking thing. And he's just like, no, man, you got to get a jazz bass or a P bass. I said, all right, I'll get a jazz bass then. I didn't know what he meant at the time when he said it's a versatile bass. Now I understand. I pretty much played my jazz bass on everything.
Did you get the jazz bass?
Oh yeah.
Do you still have it?
I still have that, yeah. That's not the one that I brought today, but I still have it. I bought it in '95. And yeah, it's kind of souped up now at this time. It's like, I think it's got different pickups in it. Sanded the neck down for the smoother action and all that. So,
and what he means by sanding the neck down, he's actually talking about the frets, right? You shave.
No, actually the neck.
Oh, the neck, not the fretboard.
Yeah, I did that for this bass
Like a
too.
satin finish.
Yeah, see how nasty it is? That's my funk. It used to be the wood color, just a regular.
Okay, and why did you shave your neck down again?
It's just it's easier to when there's a satin finish on it. I think it's harder to it sticks. I don't know if you guys have the same problem, but you guys have the same problem. Yeah, so I just kind of did that for my own taste. Some people don't like it, but
that works better for you.
Yep.
Okay. What is that you have in your hand right there? For those of us who don't know what that is.
Upright bass.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a regular old 3/4 acoustic bass that K makes. You guys heard of K bass? Yeah, it's a 52K, but at this point it's so souped up. You know, I'm like, I don't like this. I put this on here. I do this, and next thing you know, it's like 90% not K anymore. You know how it is with the, you know, we all have our thing. You know, the size of our hand or whatever it may be. You just want to make it yours, you know, and this thing just feels good on me now. You know, it's been, I don't know, like 20 years or something. Because it started so late.
What's the action like on that?
It's lower because I'm kind of weak.
Right.
No, it just depends because I go back and forth between electric and upright. I can't afford to have high action because it just starts killing my fingers and I can't go back and forth that easily anymore. So, you know, you got to play a 3-hour gig. You want to keep it low and still try to get that low, deeper sound still and not lose that. So you just go to that place where you can still get that resonance and not lose the bassiness of it. You know?
I can imagine if that action was high and you kept it like that, by the time you switched to a regular bass guitar, you probably crush the fretboard.
Oh, it was like that. I would bend notes. I'm like, oh no, you know, yeah. And it was like, I think it was an ego thing too. I'm like, I want to sound like Ray Brown. I want to sound like this, and you're just thumping away, and you're killing your fingers at the same time. You know, literally, I'll sprain my finger because I'm hitting it so hard.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you consider them two different animals, the bass guitar and the upright?
Definitely.
What's the difference between the two, in your opinion?
I feel like they're two completely separate instruments. I could almost say that. I mean, they're the same tuning. You know, obviously the frets, you know, it doesn't exist on the upright. So it's all based on feel.
Right. I've never met an awesome uprighter that looked at the fingerboard. Because it's not about where the thing is where they are feel.
No, the only time that I have to look, I actually put dots in the space like this.
Yeah.
This is uncommon, actually.
Exactly.
But I did that because I do theater music too, and they put you in the pit, and it gets dark. And sometimes they want you to hit a D flat, which is, you know, sometimes you're thinking like D is like, oh, it's around here, but D flat perfectly is really hard to do, and those conductors will glare at you if you don't hit that D flat right the first time. You're pretty much out. You know, that kind of So you're just like, you know. Yeah, I do that. But no shame in that, because at the end of the day, you're hearing it. You don't see me doing this. You know, I have no ego about it because at the end of the day, I want to do a good job. Right? You know, because people are hearing what we do. Right? It's not about how cool we look. You know, I mean that's part of it too. I think sometimes, but you know.
Well, again, I thank you for coming because we finally got the stars to align, but still, you've already come from a gig today.
Yeah, I don't wear this on a normal. I don't like wearing suits myself. And you know, yeah, I'm usually sweatpants, t-shirt kind of guy. So
basically, he's a spy.
And then he also has another gig to go to. And most bass players like myself would take this as downtime and chill.
Yeah.
And I thank you for coming to hang out with us in the basement. I got to keep thanking you about that.
I have a lot of respect for what you guys do. So I just, I got 2 little ones at home too, and I don't sleep. I got 2 hours of sleep last night, but I just think this is such a special thing that I just want to be a part of it. I'm glad that I got, and everybody came out too, man. This is so cool.
Yeah.
Don't miss it.
So you aren't hiding from the children. You actually you come to kick it.
I get in trouble.
All right. So look, I met you a couple of years ago at what was called the Detroit Bass Day. There was a performance of multiple Detroit bass players in a place called the Dime, that's short for Detroit Institute of Music Education, and you were one of the performers along with some other ones, and I heard you on the upright. Mostly everybody else played the regular bass. It's weird now that the electric bass is not a regular bass, and the upright is special when the upright is the regular bass officially. But you played some Stevie Wonder, Isn't She Lovely? And we got that on film, folks. If y'all want to check out the Detroit Bass Day 2015, right?
Yeah,
2015.
Was, yeah.
Y'all go check it out. Pull the guy's name up. We're gonna give you that information a little bit later on. Since that moment, that's when I discovered you. I didn't discover you, but I discovered you for myself, and that's all I've been hearing is Takashi Iio.
Really?
You just like blowing up. You playing with everybody and all of that good stuff. So, so from them high school days, 15,
yeah,
to now, drop me some names. What you been doing? Upright and electric. What you been up to? Just go ahead, man. Don't for us, we need to know about your work. Yeah, who you gigging with? What's been happening?
Oh, I don't even know, man.
That much, huh?
It's just that I'm in the grind all the time. You know, like we're all. I talk to mentors like Giovanni Collier and or even Ralph or any one of those guys.
Ralph Armstrong,
or I just respect all these Detroit musicians, and they help me in some way, shape, or form. They don't even know that they're helping me sometimes. You too, man. All you guys, like I hear you guys, and it just becomes something, So I'm losing my train of thought because of 2 hours of sleep, but yeah, man, it's just.
So who you kicking it with? I mean, who you play with for around
here?
Everywhere.
Yeah, I mean the bigger things that I've done, I guess, would be the theater gigs. Fisher Theater. I've done a few shows over there, so you're playing with stars that come through, and it's a lot of prestige to that, because it's just you get called. It's a small pool of people that get called for that, and I'm very fortunate that I get to be a part of that, and it's a very elite society, and I'm like, well, I'm barely there, but I'm there. So, I'm doing it. I used to tour with the Contours with the Sylvester Potts. He just passed away, and that was a cool thing. A couple TV shows, the Ellen Show. I've been on there a couple times, playing for this 9-year-old guitar prodigy. It was a cute little thing. Yep. It was weird to be on that show, behind a 9-year-old. You're just sitting there, what? This kid gets off the plane and he's just smoking, and Ozzy Osbourne's there, and you're just like, is this really happening right now? I was making a joke on TV. I'm pretty sure they didn't catch me saying it, but I was like, this is the phony Ozzy Osbourne right here, and he's standing right next to me, and it happens to be him. It was literally right here, and I'm talking to the drummer like, man, look at this guy. He looks just like Ozzy Osbourne. Anyway, that's not important. But I think there's a lot of people that I've been around and been associated with that I can't remember at this point. That I'm like, wow, and then you move on, like you're on to the next gig, and that's the reality of it. There's not. It's cool in the moment, but you just keep moving on. So I barely remember anything, not to be egotistical or anything.
It's just that you keep moving. The train don't stop.
Yeah, I'm making a living doing what I do and supporting my family, and this is what I do. So it's just a grind every day.
Okay, now I'm gonna remember this timeline because I got to go back to something.
Okay.
When you play the theater, most time that's in what's called a pit understage when nobody gets to see you, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then you have to read music. When did you start learning how to read note for note music?
This is actually, I hope I don't get in trouble for this, but I didn't know how to read music until I went to college. So I sort of faked my way into college. I auditioned at Wayne State University, and I got a full scholarship to go to Wayne State. Wow. And I pretended to look at the sheet of paper. It was Perdido, I remember. Yeah, Matt Michaels. And I went like this, and he's just like, yeah, you're cool, man. So, you got it. And I was like, okay, and I got into the music program. And then I remember in ear training class, my first test, I got 53% because I didn't know keys, I didn't know how to read. No one knew that. So I was like, oh man, 53%, this is terrible. I can't even get through the program. First test, and the girl next to me is like, I was like, how do you know this is in D major? And she goes, there's 2 sharps? And I was like, oh, okay, I shouldn't ask those kind of questions. So I just grinded my way through. The next 2 weeks, I think it was a short period, but I just read everything and studied everything and I was, I was under the radar because I was on a scholarship and everything. You have to keep a certain grade point average to, keep your scholarship. It's the first time talking about this, man. I get in trouble. But I learned pretty quickly under pressure, and I was able to. I read every day and tons of music, symphony music to jazz music, bebop solos to you name it, and pretty soon I was able to read okay enough to do those kind of things.
Well, I'm glad I asked that question. But so, which ties in with everything, folks. Whatever it takes, you know what I'm saying. Don't let nothing stop you. If you can't read, fake it. And learn the song note for note.
It's all my gigs after this.
You actually, we know you're a good bass player that can read. So like right now, you playing with you starting to sing and everything too. I saw a clip to you.
Though. I mean, it's like I've always played behind singers, and I was like, I always want to do that, but I mean, I'm not the greatest at it. I don't practice it every day. It's just one of those things I just wanted to do. So I just started throwing videos out there recently,
Right. Yeah. So, and then folks, you can find that. I mean, to me, it's awesome. So, and I don't just tell everybody they're awesome. I keep my mouth closed. I wouldn't say you suck, but I keep my mouth closed if it did.
Crying right now.
But he'll look at you like.
But it was awesome, and folks, you can go to his Facebook page to see that, and we're gonna talk about again how to contact him and keep up with him in just a minute. But I know you got to go to another gig. I ain't want to keep you. So I just got a couple of more questions for you, and then I'm gonna ask these people, do they have any questions for you? And one of the questions, are there any recordings you like doing, records, CDs, solo albums, any of that kind of good stuff?
I have a playlist on Spotify, and I haven't looked at the numbers, but it's added up to quite a bit of numbers now. I think I've been on a decent amount of records at this point. Generally local, and some of them are on satellite radio and stuff like that, through Smooth Jazz, the station, and I'm not really sure what else is on there.
Okay, well, so if we want to hear what you sound like recorded, give us some of the artists. Okay. Local, national, don't matter to me.
Yeah, there's so a few guys, artists that Ed actually plays with. Phil Denny, I've recorded on his last record. There's a few, Nate Harrison, Dion Yates. They're all the last records I recorded on with them. And Hugh Smith Quintet. We have 2 records out. We just recorded the 3rd one. It's going to be released in January. And what else? Olivia Millichan, I've recorded with her on a few tracks. Trying to think. I have a list right here. I guess I could just look through it really quick. But I'm proud of it. That's what I love doing, studio work. And I just started working with a house DJ, Steve Crawford, and I'm laying down some bass for him, and it's actually something I've never done before. House music,
cool stuff,
it's cool, man. Detroit is like,
yes, sir.
That's where
underground
it's pioneered almost. Yeah, right.
Yep.
Yeah, it's respected all over the world actually. Yeah. So I'm really happy to be doing that. So there's some stuff like that out there. The Lane Nubians is the last one I recorded with. Did a couple tracks for them this year.
So life is good on this bass guitar. You enjoy doing it? Is this a passion of yours?
Oh yeah, it's work, but I'm finding out through 20 years of gigging, I feel like this is definitely my passion. It's in my core, and it's, when you're a working musician, I've noticed a lot of people get jaded and they don't realize that they don't actually like what they do. There's a lot of people out there that really hate it, actually. I see it in them.
You can see their face.
Yep, and I don't have that. I love what I do, and I'm so happy that I found out that it's actually my passion, and it's there, and I can't stop thinking about it. It's almost an obsession of mine, you know. For an example, the last video I did, I did a singing bass solo video of Smile, Charlie Chaplin's Smile. I did that in 45 minutes between my son falling asleep, going straight down to the basement, getting the mic and everything set up, do it, and then he woke up when I hit the last note. I heard him coming down the stairs, and I was like, all right, done. I mean, but that's what I'm willing to do because I'm obsessed and I'm passionate about it. I hear it in my head, and I hope that I could come out the way I hear it, but not always the case because it's, you know, this stuff is, even, you know, my intro, that's not how I heard it, but that's what came out. You know, it's a little nerve-wracking being around all these bass players, you know?
Yeah, we call that the hot seat, Neil.
Oh, yeah.
You don't call it that for nothing.
I felt that.
So where you headed at on this, in music in general? What's your endeavors, if I'm using the correct word?
I'm actually starting to have aspirations, which is cool. I thought I was just trying to get better at the instrument. You know, that's the initial thing. I was like, I want to get faster. I want to learn this. I want to learn jazz. I want to learn bossa nova, Latin, salsa, hip hop, whatever it may be. Now I'm starting to do those vocals things and doing certain groups that I'm actually co-writing and arranging and stuff like that. I would love to do some tours and, you know, obviously off nights, you know, certain bands have me kind of locked down. Some of you know what that feels like, you know, there's certain money bands. I would love to get out there and actually put myself out there for a change. You know, I've never done that before, and I never thought to do it till recently. Like, you know what? Might as well do it. You know, life's short.
Yep.
You know, and
if you don't do it, you'll regret it.
Yeah, you will. I think so. And I'm starting to realize that more as I get older. You know, it's like whatever you envision. A lot of people say, you know, oh, I thought about doing this. I thought about doing that. Or, you know, I thought about running today. I thought about doing that. I'm like, just do it. You know, I started singing. I just started doing it because I'm not a great singer, but I'm going to do it because I feel it and I want to put that vision out there. You know, so I think that's why my aspirations are that right now.
Well, I wish you the best in all of your endeavors and aspirations, and all of those words to mean the same thing. And I ain't want to keep you, but I do want to know if anybody else had some questions. I didn't get nothing technical. I just wanted to know your bass-tery, and so I'm gonna let this panel of bass players take over for anybody that may have a question for you. Anybody got a question?
Well, mine's more of a comment, because you said something that kind of hit with me, because I've been having trouble. I don't know how you maintain the level, the number of students that I've got 4. But I try to convince them, you know, you're making this hard for you. And unless you start learning how to have fun with it, you're never going to excel at it.
It's got to be fun.
You're never going to excel at it. If you're playing some stuff, blah, blah, and you don't like what you're doing, change what you're doing. If you're doing that, blah, blah, to make some money, that's a wall you're going to run into. Yeah. If you're doing it for anything else, then what's in here, blah, blah, blah. Because if you get into the business and start recording, blah, blah, whatever you bring to them, throw it away. Because they already decided what they're going to sell for you. And unless you got it in here, you won't be selling anything.
Yep.
And folks, take heed to Uncle Wedgie. I saw that on Facebook. One of your grandbabies call you Wedgie.
My mouth was open too. My mouth was open on that.
Well, take heed, folks, because the man know what he's talking about. AKA gig with Diana Ross, AKA music director for Michael Henderson. Them ain't no joke gigs. I forgot to ask you, do you teach? Do you have time to teach?
You know, it's one of those things I just never did. I've just been a performing bass player.
That's a hard thing to commit to, man. You can do it on the side and on the fly, but you got to be really committed to do it full time.
Right.
Yeah. Like I'm just grateful.
Yeah, that's what I do. Man, because I know what goes into all of that.
Yeah, it's pretty much nonstop. Like to give you an example, you know, it's a lot of double, triple headers a day. You know, it's just in between. I work it out where I have a morning gig, session in the middle, night gig, next day, same kind of thing. If I'm not working every day, I feel bad. You know, that's what it feels like. But I love it. So at the same time, it's like, cool, man. I get to practice a little.
I got
a question.
Yeah.
As long as you're not getting burned out.
But I found a key factor in that, the burnout thing. I try to do other gigs, like a jazz gig one day, funk gig one day, pop gig one day, and I just switch it up all the time. And I'm like, oh, it's a different style.
Because I was gonna ask. So for you, what is fun? You know, because like different people have different stuff. Like it's certain times that metal just does it for me.
Yeah.
And then it's other times that it's techno.
Yeah.
And so you kind of choose. But for you, what would you, if you have a minute, because you got a lot of stuff to do, and you just have a minute for downtime.
Yeah.
What is fun for you?
Sometimes I think I even get off my instrument.
Yep.
Yeah, and I get on the ukulele or guitar or piano and sing, and that's just leisure time.
Okay.
You know, I'm just singing anything or not even singing. I'll just be playing something and like, I suck, but it's fine.
But and then when you come back, it's like you're more excited to come back to the instrument.
Oh yeah. But what's funny is my hobby is music still, which is crazy. It is what it is. Yeah. But that's what you're talking about. It's always in here, and I can't. And I'm glad that it's in there, because I would be in trouble. My family would be in trouble.
Anybody else? Anybody have a question?
What would be your favorite bass that you would?
It depends on the day. Like this is like my baby here. It's a Labella Flats, 7-year-old strings.
Okay.
It's a Frankenstein bass that I put together. I bought everything that's on this bass and gave it to a luthier for him to put it together. And this bass, it's like a part of my body at this point, because I just, it's been years together, Yeah, so, it's, I guess, big as usual.
How many basses?
I think I have 12 basses.
Nice.
But
you got a picture of them somewhere I can grab?
I think I just posted some of them a couple days ago.
So, anybody else, Ed, got a question?
The struggle to sing and play at the same time.
As a bass players.
Yeah.
Because we're always playing lines.
Right.
Yes.
Which means it's a counter line to what we're singing.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yes, sir.
All I know is I'm working on this other one right now. I probably shouldn't say anything. With my buddy Rick Beeman. I don't know if you guys know Rick. Oh yeah, you've been playing with Rick for a long time. You guys are like bros, Yeah, he's actually playing bass lately.
Right. Oh yeah, he's been calling me. Right.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a song that we're working on by John Mayer, and it's it's called Neon. I don't know if you guys ever.
Yep.
So singing that and playing at the same time, it's all it is just repetition, and then hearing the melody in your head. You might not be able to do it physically with your muscles yet, but you just do the motion, and then you hum parts of the melody until you get it all the way. It just takes time. So I'm talking about the difficult ones, So there's some that, like for the last one I did, it was just straight up. Right? It's like that's easier to sing over, But when you're doing like a lick, it's like no, thank you.
Or like you're trying to be Geddy Lee, you're trying to sing over.
Oh yeah, that's what I mean.
Right.
Something like that.
How was he doing that?
It's so crazy, man.
It took me 25 years to learn how to breathe.
Oh.
Yeah.
Breathe.
And relax.
Because I wasn't doing a lot of vocal stuff.
Yeah.
But I found myself holding my breath.
Yeah.
Holding my breath. And he said, well, man, what? You killing yourself.
Yeah.
You killing yourself. Take a deep breath.
I'm still learning the art of that, because if I were to sing
and I
in
did
front
it
of you guys right now.
unconsciously for years, man.
Oh, so
years.
I got no hope then.
If you ask me to sing while I'm playing,
Said just give it up, go home.
I have to stop.
Right.
Well, that's one of the things, folks. Breathe. When you actually make those passages more difficult by not breathing.
Yeah.
If you just breathe, it just come on out. You know what I mean? No jokes for that one. I had to stop myself. Anybody else have any questions for this fine bassist?
I do. You mentioned playing in the orchestra and the symphony, how it's a prestige group. Outside of being able to read music, what are some qualities that you say they look for in a musician?
From that kind of a situation, to be able to first of all, this is how they do it. They give you a book in advance sometimes, but a lot of times we don't have time to look over it. So there's one run through, they call it. It's not even a rehearsal. It's a run through. You get the book and you read through the whole thing with the whole orchestra, and then you play the gig at night. That's it. And that's how it works. So I guess the thing with reading and stuff like that, they look for that ability, you know, to be able to do that and not be afraid of it, to be able to play everything precisely and almost interpret it the way they would want to hear it. You know, sometimes I fail at that, where I see the conductor glaring at me. I'm like, why is she glaring at me? You know, and then you figure it out as you play the gig a couple more times. You know, you're like, oh, she wants it straighter, or she wants it, you know, that kind of thing. But yeah, I guess it varies with each situation. You know, whether it's a reading thing, or if it's your bow, or if it's, you know, the tone of your bow, or whatever. You know, you just.
But they don't always tell you, do they?
No,
they
it's
expect
always
you to know.
passive. Actually, they don't. They kind of just look at you, and you go, "All right, I know what she's thinking, or I know what he's thinking." Sometimes they'll give you notes with mistakes that you made throughout the night.
Really?
Everybody goes, "There you go, here you go," and you see them writing it. They're playing, and they're just doing this.
Another thing they probably look at is your attitude and the way you carry yourself as well.
Yeah,
it's got to be a nice
people-to-people situation. I feel like I think with most situations, right? It's almost music is secondary, and you got to just be able to do this. I feel like that's what it is. You just have to have it under your fingers first and foremost, and then people skills.
Yeah, right.
That's like the number one thing.
It shuts you out.
And look for the ones that come in here with that, my proficiency level is enough to do to blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. Say you get a piece of paper in front of you that you are about to read. What is the first thing you look at on that paper?
I just look at the time signature, the key, whether it's minor or major, and then the chord progression. I'll start the. This is what Ernie Rogers. I don't know if you guys all know Ernie Rogers. Him and Matt Michaels, Russ Miller, Marcus Belgrave, Harold McKinney, and all those guys they had this common denominator where you just had to analyze it really fast within the first couple seconds of looking at a chart. I mean, I remember a personal experience where they just smashed a book right in my face after the first reading. I'm like, what are you doing? It's like, oh, you don't have that memorized yet? I'm like, oh, no, I don't. And that's when I realized, you know, that's the expectations. Not that you would have to memorize everything every time, but it's the numbers. You know, you guys know the number system, like 1625. It's a scale. Yeah. I do that. So the key, meter, and the numbers. Map it out in your head. How many measures, and you just go at it.
Okay, so once you realize what key the song is in, which is right there at the front of the piece of paper most of the time, do you get in position for that key?
Finger position? Yeah, because sometimes...
Like, for example, say it's in the key of D.
Yeah.
Would you put your hand in a certain place ready to play?
Yeah, but that's another thing I do is see where the lowest note is and the highest note. And then if you get deeper into it, I guess there's certain strings that resonate better. Certain, you guys all know that. Whether like this D right here, it's a little different than this one. Obviously, you hear the difference, or this, and you start figuring that out. It's like what if it sounds good. And is it easier to get to? If I'm trying to, like in D, is it easier to get to this high D right here? From the position that I'm in here, depending on what line I'm playing. So stuff like that. But I guess if you were to break it down, where's the lowest note and the highest note? And then where's the closest thing to that?
Okay.
Relative to that.
Anybody else have any questions for this fine bassist?
I got one question. How do you maintain your bass through the seasons?
Who is that?
That's James.
Who?
James Foreman.
I can't see you, brother. Can you,
Come around.
can you at least stick your head out?
Hey, how you doing?
Okay, we didn't know he was here. Tell us your name, brother. And
James Foreman.
James played. Welcome back to the basement. Another Detroit bass player, and also another guy we didn't introduce. Tell us your name.
Bob Madgett.
A Detroit bass player.
I'm the odd man out. I'm keyboard.
You're welcome here.
Yeah.
But you notice we got him on near the other side of the door because he's a keyboard. I'm just playing. I always say that joke.
I just use the low octaves and I do it.
Yeah, you still a bass player with your left hand. Thanks both of y'all for coming out. What was your question again, James?
How do you maintain the upright over the seasons?
That's actually part of the reason why I have a plywood bass, because with a plywood bass you rarely have to do anything to it, which is great for Michigan. I mean, it's crazy.
The weather
here,
change.
Yeah, it goes from like 30 to 100.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, you can't leave it in the car. You can't do stuff like that. But if you're just leaving it in the house and stuff like that, it's like sturdy as a jazz bass. You know, so yeah, so I had to take the easy way out because I don't have time to do that kind of stuff with my family and stuff like that, you know. But I do get it maintained by the luthier twice a year or somewhere around there.
Any other questions, anybody? Hold on a second. Okay. Any other questions, anybody? Okay, well, I'm going to edit that part out.
Okay.
Because I, try to make it look like it's just keep moving.
Yeah.
So, and I just added this new transition. I used to do a blur out and blur back in when I go from one thing to another. Now I got this page flipper where it takes the page and then flips another
you got
page.
Like hearts popping up.
I ain't. That's for young editors. I'm old. But
said I've been doing this for a month.
So look, man. Once again, man. Look, those were some great questions. I didn't want to keep you, but before I ask you to play us out, I want to know how to keep in contact with you. So, do you have like a Facebook, a YouTube, a Instagram, a Twitter?
Yeah, I
what
have
you got?
all of those actually. I can't remember the handles. I think the Instagram's TK110. Is my Instagram, and Facebook, you just look up my name, Takashi Iio, and then both the music page and my personal page pops up. I guess I'm cool with both, actually. You know.
Okay.
I don't put any shady stuff on there. It's all basically music and family.
Right. That's what most of us do.
Not my techno dancing moves or anything.
Okay, so again, last question before you play us out. Is there anything that you would like to say in closing?
I feel like I got it all out, man. Yeah, I guess just keep the passion going, you know, and it's a community thing. I feel like we should help each other out with that because, you know, all you guys inspire me. So I think it's a reciprocal thing, and you can't forget that, you know, that everybody matters.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you keep an open mind, though. You can't have an ego when you do that. And I feel like Detroit bass players have that, what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
We do.
Yeah.
Okay, even though none of us are from Detroit.
Sorry.
But now, as you play us out, could you switch to
electric?
Yeah, because you did awesome on that. I want to see the electric bass, man.
You just want to hear some flat wounds. That's all.
Yeah.
So as soon as you said flat wounds, he's like, "Uh-oh, I wanted to switch."
You just wanted to hear my girl.
See. To hit a few contour songs.
I got some nickel strings that's so old they flat wounds. I never change the strings.
I know what you mean by that. They do have that sound.
Yeah, I never change it.
Oh, yeah, see, you can hear that flat immediately, boy.
Can you?
Oh, you can hear it.
Ladies and gentlemen, Takashi Iio.
Yeah.